when you e-brake, you're supposed to brake first and then let the bike slow down before you clutch in. But I have this bad habit of clutching in. When you clutch in, the bike goes freewheel. So I skidded, boom, bike was on the floor.
Welcome to the One Day at a Time podcast, where we take things one day at a time. Today in the studio, we have Marcus and Amber.
Hello.
Yeah, can you do a quick introduction about yourself?
Okay, hi, my name is Marcus. I'm a part-time student and full-time employee at somewhere. I'm not going to say, but yeah. And I've been riding for about 4 years.
I'm Amber, and I'm a student currently. And I've been riding for around 2 years plus, currently an R3.
Nice.
Oh, I'm currently riding a Suzuki GSR 750.
Oh, what is the R3?
It's the bike that I'm riding.
Oh, it's like
the model.
Yamaha.
Yeah. Yamaha.
Oh, good guess. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Nice. Okay. Okay, so today basically we are having a conversation about riding in Singapore, like basically motorcycles and riding and things like that. And the first thing I was going to ask you is how long have you been riding? But I guess you've already covered that, so let's move on. So Marcus, you've been riding for about 4 years, quite a while. But before that, you drive, right? You have a license, a driving license.
I have a driving license.
And Amber, you've been riding for 2 years. Do you have a driving license?
I do, but I got it after I got my riding license.
Oh, okay. So I guess the first thing I would like to find out is what made you decide to ride instead of drive?
As you all know, the cost of driving in Singapore is quite expensive.
Yeah.
After much thought, I thought that getting a bike for myself would be a much easier way and cheaper way of transport. So I just went and done it. Also, Thaddeus, one of my friends, he was doing riding at the point of time also, but he hadn't completed his. So he just like, hey, bro, come and do that. And then I'm like, sure, let's do it. And after we passed, got a bike. And true enough, it was way cheaper than owning a car. So I just used that all the way.
Nice. So it's like for Marcus, your reason is basically is much more affordable.
Yes, it's
right?
affordable transport, convenience. I'm all for convenience.
Nice. How about you, Amber? Why did you decide to ride?
Something similar to Marcus as well. Actually, it's because of the cost. I wanted to get a license when I was 18, but we don't have a family car. So even if I got a car license, I wouldn't be able to drive quite often. So for riding, my dad rides. So I've always seen his bikes and stuff. So I got a bit interested. And then when I was 18, I decided that, no point getting a car license. So I went for a bike instead. Yeah.
Okay, then my question is, okay, so for me personally, like I at some point in my early 20s, which is quite a while ago, I also had an interest in riding, mainly because I think it's convenient and cheap also,
Yes.
right? It just mathematically makes sense. But I remember my mother saying, if you go and get a license, you don't need to come home already. Yeah, which I think for a lot of Asian parents, like that seems to be the case because there's a lot of negative connotations to riding, like the safety and everything, right? So when both of you got your license, were parents or like your like peers at that time feel like they are you got their approval, or you just didn't give a shit and you just go and do anyway?
For most of the things in my life, usually my dad is quite open. But for riding, I went to sign up first. I didn't buy a helmet until usually people get caught by their parents because they bring a helmet home.
Right.
But I didn't buy a helmet. I just used the SSDC helmet until I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. Then I invested in the helmet. But before that, I didn't tell my dad at all. Until I'm like, okay, I'm going to become a rider. Then I told him. Then he was like, the sigh of disappointment.
I can picture that in my head.
Yeah.
I think that's very common. A lot of people, they go without telling their parents. Then after they get the license, then what can they do, Yeah.
Same for the tattoo
for me also,
but I don't condone.
Okay, but that's not so bad because it's not really... Okay, I guess.
It's in the concept of I do first, I tell you later.
Right.
Yeah.
Then how about you, Amber? Your parents, because your dad rides, which is quite different.
Yeah. I think he knew a bit earlier because you can see me holding a helmet and then have a backpack with all the different guards, the elbow guards and everything. But for my mom, she's a bit more conserved. So I didn't really tell her. I did hint to her a few times, but she wasn't very, she wasn't giving any approval for it. Yeah, but after a while, I got my license. I think she's more okay with it lah. So it started from like, oh, just get the license, then forget about it, to like, oh, just get a small bike. Then after that, I just upgraded. Yeah, she thinks it's a smaller bike, but it's actually a slightly bigger bike. So
does it actually matter, like the how big or small the bike is?
You can go a bit faster lah.
Bigger can go faster.
Yeah.
You get your destination faster.
Right.
Then shorten the risk, you know.
So like now that you have been riding for a couple of years, both of you, your parents are kind of have accepted that you're just gonna ride.
Yes.
And there is no, like in the beginning, was there any like big fight? Like for you, did your dad just sigh and then after that just carry on already? Or
He said, throughout your riding life, you will probably get into accident. Just try to be safe, because they always say the 铁包人 instead
correct.
of the 人包铁.
Correct. The human rep the steel and not the steel rep the human.
Yeah.
So right now I guess your parents are okay lah. Like they just have accepted it that like you ride, and actually your dad quite nice one. Like even though he sigh, he just basically just let accepted
there's
it
really
lah.
no stopping you in a sense. I also want to kind of respect his decisions, but I value my convenience. So
Okay, then the question that I always have, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to speak to you guys, right? The question that I personally always have is, over the years, I also realized that people I know who ride, or like you see news and whatever, like riders do get into accidents a lot more often than people who drive. And even so, apart from the accident rate, the severity of the accident is also can be quite bad, because if you do get into an accident as a rider, you can die more easily, right? Whereas in a car, still can die, but like not slightly lesser chance, I guess.
Yep.
So the question is that, do you think that, so Marcus, you have been in an accident before, right?
yes.
Can you like share a little bit about your story, like your whole journey, like going through the accident as a rider?
I wouldn't say it was a accident. Cause I self-skidded. This is self-accident.
Okay.
I was going along Buangkok Avenue. It was a rainy day, and me being lazy, I wear slippers and shorts. Again, not the safest option lah. Usually you need to wear long pants and covered shoes and stuff. But I was wearing short pants, slippers. Then I'm very wary of red light cameras. So at that point of time, I was still quite fresh. And I have this bad habit of when you e-brake, you're supposed to brake first and then kind of like let the bike slow down before you clutch in. But I have this bad habit of clutching in together with because I'm a driver first, and that's what drivers do.
Right.
Sometimes. Not saying.
Yeah.
So when you clutch in, the bike kind of goes freewheel, and it's easier for you to skid on a wet surface.
Right.
So I skidded. Then I just boom. Bike was on the floor. I just got up and then went to my friend brought me to the hospital. Yeah, at Sengkang. So then later on, the doctor asked me to go home, and then they called me the next day and say, hey, I think you might have a slight fracture on your toe. So I went back, and then I had to be in a cast for 2 months or so. Yeah, that's the...
But it wasn't like a bad accident lah. Did you feel like, were you bleeding or like in pain or anything?
I had flesh wounds like on my legs and hands and stuff, but wasn't that bad. I think I actually am quite grateful that this was my first accident. Because after your accident, then you realize like, hey, I need to be a bit more safe when I'm riding. You start to, hey, maybe I don't want to salate here, or like be a bit more cautious when you're riding.
Right. Because it could have been a lot worse, lah, right?
Yeah.
If it's not a self-caused accident,
Yes.
then you langgar someone and it can be pretty bad. Or worse, someone like hit you, someone langgar you.
I did get hit on the highway on CT before though.
Oh shit, what happened?
I was riding with her actually, and she was behind me. So I was just salating. Salating is just cutting in
Lane
between
splitting
cars.
lah.
Yeah, lane splitting.
Yeah.
I was just cutting in between cars, and suddenly this car just came out without signaling, hit me to the side.
Okay, to be fair, he was going a bit fast. And because there was a jam, so you can expect the cars to just signal and move out
Right.
anytime. Yeah, so I slowed down a bit, but he still went on quite fast.
Right.
Then I suddenly see the car from behind turn out.
Hit me. But I didn't. There was no serious damage done lah there.
Right.
It was just luckily.
So what happened? Did you have to kind of like negotiate with the driver, or like everybody just went on their own business?
We ended up going to the side, talk a bit. Then he was like, "Hey, nothing. Then he just
Because ended up there was just a bit of scratches on his
Yeah.
car, and he didn't drop his bike.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so-
I think not much to negotiate there.
Right. So you weren't hurt basically.
Yeah.
So it's not really an accident. You just got hit, but you
Just got hit.
Like
but
a near
it
miss
wasn't
lah.
Correct.
it wasn't a big one because like he was just coming out. Means like he's not really accelerating that much also lah. It's just like
Yeah.
pop. Then
It was quite
Wow.
scary though.
yeah, I would think
Yeah.
so. And how about you, Amber? Are you accident free so far?
No, actually, I got into an accident 1 week after I got my first bike.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was a very minor one lah. So I was going straight into my house. It was a small road, like minor road. And then this Grab car came from the side, so I was going straight. He wanted to turn into my road, but his one is even smaller, so it's like a minor road. Then mine is like a main road now. Then I was going straight. He was using his phone. I think he was doing his Grab, like riding lah. Then it was a stop sign, but he didn't stop. He just went straight, and then he knocked into me. At that time, I saw him coming, but he didn't see me coming. So I braked, but I was still quite new, so I didn't know how to horn. So I just watched it happen. Then I dropped my bike within the first week of buying it. Yeah, so a bit heart pain. Then afterwards, just remember to take a lot of pictures. Then you see whether you want to do insurance or you want to do like private settlement.
Pro tips for accidents.
Yeah, a lot of pictures.
When you drop your bike, do you get hurt also? Do you get hurt also, or it was quite okay for you?
Actually, good for me because when I was learning, right, I keep dropping my bike. I was not very talented at the start lah. So I kind of know how to eject properly.
Right.
So I just left my bike lah.
Right.
In a way.
Did you have to like do any repairs on your bike or?
Yeah, actually the whole side was scratched. And it was new.
Right.
So I claimed for everything lah.
It was a aesthetic kind of thing or
Yeah,
like
aesthetic.
Oh, okay
because it
lah.
was
So not
kind
so
of
bad.
like a slow drop. He hit me already. Then I tried to pull up my bike, but the car was on top. So
right.
it just fell over.
Right. Okay, so then the question is, right, since both of you have gotten into accidents, like albeit like sort of minor ones, not exactly like life-threatening accidents where you gotta be rushed to the A&E type of thing. Now you know that driving or riding is very dangerous because you can get into accidents either by your own fault or someone else just, like comes out and whatever lah. So even though it is cheaper and it is more convenient, why, in your opinion, right, would you essentially risk your life potentially for the convenience lah? Like how important is the convenience to you such that you would risk your life in terms of like potentially losing a limb or like your life, right, for the convenience? Like the trade-off doesn't seem very worth it.
I think for us, we're a bit different. He rides more for convenience for transportation, but I actually enjoy riding.
Right.
So I'll ride like rounding without going to like anywhere, like a destination. So I do enjoy the thrill of riding.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's more worth
Yeah.
than just
Okay,
getting to
so it's
places.
like passion lah. You enjoy it.
yeah, a little bit.
I do enjoy riding. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I do enjoy riding, but fuel costs is also on my mind a lot. So when you go rounding, sometimes they will take long ass rides all over the whole country and stuff like that. I don't mind, but I also don't have a lot of friends who ride. Yeah, she's got like groups and stuff, and I'm just like, minding my own business, go to work, come back, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Back to your point about
correct.
the trade-off. For me, yes, I would do this because I think my tipping point was when I had to come back from camp every day last time at Safti, and then I had to change the train 3 times just to get back home, and I had to wait 3 to 4 trains at each change. It was a mental challenge every day getting from camp back home, and right at that point I was like, I'm gonna go ride. And then after all these accidents, I think that even if you are safe, other road users might not be safe, and you can still get injured. So there's really no say, oh, I'm safe, and then I'll just look out for myself, because there's still can't guarantee your safety.
Yeah, correct.
But for me, convenience, really.
So you I mean, I don't think there's any correct or wrong, but you essentially value convenience
A lot.
so much that you're willing to potentially lose a limb or something to have that convenience lah.
When you put it like that, losing a limb,
I mean, okay,
I can see it.
Yeah,
But although I said all that about safety just now, I think I can manage lah. Ish.
Yeah, like you
right,
just
manage.
instead of, like just looking out for yourself is not really enough. So you have to look for
correct.
other people as well.
Yeah.
So if you see a car swerving a bit, then just don't lane split there.
right.
They call this
Yeah.
defensive riding. They teach this
Correct.
in the right.
Yeah,
They teach this in the schools.
kind of.
But back when I was learning, I didn't know what is defensive riding. And even when they're saying, oh, this is a defensive riding lesson, they didn't explain it, so I didn't know what defensive riding was. But now that I'm riding already, okay, defensive riding makes a lot of sense, because people might be reckless, but you gotta
Be extra cautious.
Yeah, you just gotta be extra cautious and look out for potential reckless drivers. Yeah.
So defensive driving is basically the idea of being more cautious as a rider.
Like expecting things that might go wrong. And then preventing that.
Even if you are in the right of way and they're in the wrong way, still if you have a collision there,
Your
gonna
life is at stake. Yeah,
you're gonna
correct.
be the one that's hurt. So you don't really wanna, oh, I'm right, I should just go because I'm right. That's not the right mentality to have
As a rider
as
lah.
a rider. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it makes sense in some way. Would you say that, okay, because I don't ride, like personally, I don't ride. The only thing I ride is bicycle. So I don't ride at all. But would you say that a lot of the accidents that happen, whether it's like to riders or whatever, right? Would you say that a lot of the accidents happen because the rider themselves, okay, because the accident might not be caused by the rider, but because the rider themselves is not as alert and they don't practice so-called defensive riding, that's why accidents are more prone.
I can't say for all cases, but I do.
In your experience, do you think?
I do see some, because I can't put the blame 100% on drivers also. I do see some riders who are quite swervy in and out,
Right.
stuff like that. Usually a lot of the people, the Malaysian bikes that come in, I'm not trying to call them out
Yeah.
but from my experience,
Right.
not all.
Okay.
But yeah, some.
Yeah.
They just go in and out like that.
Right.
They ride with one hand,
Yeah.
and then they just like going like.
I guess the traffic in Malaysia and Singapore is a bit
Different.
different also.
It's
Yeah, the way
insane.
we drive.
Yeah. So no.
So
Not like that.
it's it's quite scary in a sense because like based on what you described, in order to be a safe rider, you don't just have to be a safe rider yourself. Apart from the defensive driving thing, like the accidents can be caused by other reckless drivers or riders at the same time. So that is something that you have to mitigate. And furthermore, in order to practice defensive driving, you need to be basically 100% alert as much as possible on the road, right? If not, you cannot really see or predict anything and that might come your way and everything. So in that sense, riding can be quite tiring in a sense where you have to, I guess driving also can be quite tiring, but like riding is quite tiring because if you get into a car accident, major or minor, you will be a little bit more safe because you are protected by the shell of the car.
Yes.
But as a rider, you don't have that luxury of being protected by the shell of the car or the vehicle. So you really have to be very alert. The moment you go out of the car park to the road, you have to be super alert, right? So riding can be very... Do you feel like riding is tiring because of that? That you have to just be like alert?
I think it's like part and parcel of riding. It's part of it. So if it's super safe, then it wouldn't be thrilling or like that fun, you know what I mean?
Right, for you lah, because you ride for the fun.
Yeah, correct.
I do feel this also because but the long rides she rides like a very long way to school every day. And like sometimes when I go and pick her up, I ride from her school to back home. My butt kind of starts hurting. Cause like I'm like what is this long journey, especially when there's a traffic jam. You need to go a bit slower, so you'll be on the bike for a longer time.
Wow, can I just say KP is so hot It's so hot and I have to go from all the way from the start to the end. And even if the traffic is clear, I'm still going to be sweating because I'm going to be in there for 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, it's really hot.
Yeah, so back to your question, the mind has to be alert, yes, but it's also like a skill where once you practice it more, it will become like a natural
instinct.
It's like muscle memory,
yes, it's
like more muscle memory.
It's like playing the guitar, you know,
Right.
play whatever, that kind of thing.
Right. So I guess a few of the more common reasons of why people ride, even though there is some kind of life risking to it, is like convenience, cheaper, and like you just like it lah, right? It's almost like it's not like for Amber, apart from it being a mode of transport, like that's secondary to you. You do it because it's like shiok lah. Like you enjoy the whole process and everything.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Okay. Yeah. Correct. It's cool. Then. Riding is convenient and cheap. How affordable is riding actually? So let's break down a little bit, right? So like the cost of a decent bike, right? The fuel cost and maybe insurance for bikes. Like how, like every month, right? How much do you actually spend on all these things? And did you like take a bike loan or whatever, or you just pay like upfront?
Full cash.
Okay, I guess for bikes you really can do that.
Yeah.
So how much do y'all pay for your bikes? If y'all don't mind sharing.
I got mine at a second hand, so it was around 12.5.
Okay, is that considered cheap or expensive?
I think it was considered cheap, but it had some problems that I didn't know, so I had to fix it up. Then ended up averaging at a normal like 6-year bike.
Whether you tell him about your first bike, which is bought first hand, because I think the price comparison, right, for people who buy second hand and first hand is a bit different.
So first hand?
First hand, it was a smaller bike, so it was around 14 for everything.
Brand new?
Brand new.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it's a 150cc.
How much of that was COE?
It was before the spike. When it started increasing already, it was around 7-8K.
Okay, yeah, that's not.
So the machine price is about
7K.
7K.
Around the same.
Yeah.
Then how about you? Your bike?
My first bike was also a 150cc. I got it at 4.2 with about 4 years left. So you can imagine it's
not bad,
1K per year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used that bike for that long, and when it's left, I just changed my bike. So a few months ago I sold that bike for about 2K. So essentially I used the bike for like 3+ years, and I paid about 2+K. But of course, you need to factor in
correct
road tax, insurance,
absolutely,
ERP, season parking.
Okay, let's get to that. But wow, 4.2K. I mean, okay, I can see the allure lah. I can see like that is very tempting.
Yeah.
But apart from the cost of the bike itself, how much do you, like, on average lah, both of you spend monthly on bike expenses? So like, we put everything together, okay? So like insurance, road tax, parking, ERP, helmet. Okay, helmet like one off, don't count. So all these things added together, like your monthly cost and fuel. How much does having a bike cost you? Like, if assuming you ride almost every day, every month.
Yeah. Back when I was riding a 150cc bike, it really makes a difference. So my 150cc bike I give myself about $90 a month.
For fuel?
It also varies because I have a shorter commute to work.
Right.
It really makes a difference. So I only pump 3 times a month. And my one pump at that point of time was about $20.
Wow.
Correct. So maybe if you factor in road tax, ERP, your top up your cash card and all this stuff, maybe $120 a month. But now that I'm riding a bigger bike, 750cc, that cost might have been doubled or even tripled. Yeah.
But at most $400
per month.
Definitely not $400. I think
it's a bit much.
I think 300.
Oh, okay. I was not expecting that.
No, you include road tax, all this also.
Okay lah, road tax is per year ma.
You
divide long.
I think it's about 300-400.
Right. Okay.
Whoa. Okay. I can now I can see the allure even more.
Yeah.
Because that is quite affordable. How about you, Amber? How much do you roughly spend on like all these things?
It's a bit hard to calculate because insurance is once a year.
Right. Average line, if you average it out, like roughly.
More than 100, maybe 150.
Whew.
I'm guessing.
Okay. Wow. So
petrol is $30 for maybe 4 times a month.
Right.
So that's like.
So your current bike you paid like. Okay, including all the additional like works, repair, whatever, assume like you paid 14K lah. Like, then that can last you how many years?
Last me how many years? As in
how long is the COE?
10 years.
10 years. Your second hand bike, 10 years lah.
Second hand bike was 6 years.
6 years. So like you spent like roughly say 14K, right?
So each year is about
1 year you spend like 2.3K divided by 12. Wow, so that means every month, right? If we break down everything into like installments, right? You will spend about $300 plus on the bike for 10 years.
And it's comparable with public transport now. Because as an adult, like if you're not holding a student card, the concession is quite expensive also.
Yeah. This includes parking, like whatever you all just tell me, that includes parking.
Yes.
There's this thing for motorbikes where you can get concessionary season parking. So season parking is for your own car park. And concessionary season is, you pay maybe extra $5, I think. And you get island-wide HDB concession parking. So if you go to other HDBs and you park overnight, it's still considered
any HDB
under your season parking.
Okay, so I guess I wouldn't say that I completely understand why you risk your life to ride a bike, but I can see that actually there are quite a lot of benefits to it lah, right? Yeah. Fast, convenient, cheap. It is insanely cheap. One of the things I was gonna ask you is, actually if you take Grab every day to and from, like whatever, it will cost less than $1,000, like for sure.
Okay.
Because that's what I do. But most of the, I mean, depends lah. Cause I run my own thing. I teach. I freelance. So like I go from place to place, and a lot of times I'm rushing here and there.
Yes.
So unless it makes sense for me to take a train or a bus because it's faster, usually I will just take a Grab or whatever, and I definitely spend more than you on it lah, like for sure. Cause I was gonna say like actually if you Grab everywhere you go, it's not as expensive as people think if you plan it out very well. Like I always do like non-peak and I never hit the peak kind of thing. Yeah. But we do share a common problem, which is that if you ride and I Grab when it rains, right, well, then it becomes very rabak, right? Because my price go up and it's more dangerous for you.
Correct.
And all that kind. We'll get there later. But I am actually very, very surprised at how affordable riding is, because I was expecting you to tell me something like, oh, you spend about $800 a month on the bike in terms of the installments plus but it's not like for Amber it's only like if we break everything down it's only like $300 plus a month, and for you at most it's like 400-500 at most lah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean I do see the allure, but there are other cons to it, right? So like apart from raining, like just now Amber mentioned, wow, it's like freaking highway, damn hot, kind of thing. Like, car got aircon lah. Most cars got working aircon. MRT got working aircon, Grab got working aircon, but you don't have. So you gotta kind of have to deal with the weather basically.
Yeah.
Then let's talk about rain, which I think is one of the key factors that is accident causing, like for bikers, and it just kind of sucks when maybe you're coming home from work and it rains. It's not too bad because when you reach home you can still like shower and whatever, but when you're going to work and it rains, must suck quite bad, right?
It does.
Yeah.
But usually we'll stop at the roadside to put on our raincoat.
Is that very troublesome? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think for raincoat, as long as I'm wearing a raincoat, I'll be fine. If you don't wear a raincoat and you ride through the rain, it hurts.
Yeah,
The rain
it does.
hits you and it hurts. It physically hurts.
The raindrops.
It's
Because you're going
small
fast.
little spears like all over the body. If you're not wearing long pants, you feel it on your legs and everything. It's quite painful.
Wow. Okay, you obviously have experienced that before.
And you'll be like, you'll be doing that on your bike. You'll be doing that on your bike. Yeah, for sure.
Shit. Okay, so I mean, I know today you took a Grab here because it was raining lah, right? It was raining. So will there be situations where like, you're going to school, you're going to work, and it's like pouring freaking cats and dogs? Like, would you just leave your bike at home and just go find another mode of transport, or you will like just put on your helmet, your raincoat, and go?
I really hate taking Grab because I feel like the price is not justifiable. So if I'm at home before it starts to rain, I'll put on my raincoat and I'll just leave. If I'm out and it starts to rain, no choice.
Right, you have to go anyway.
Actually, on my first day of work, I headed out, and then on the highway it started raining, and then it just came down. I went to the side, put on my raincoat, but it was too late already. I was already drenched. That happened on my first day, so I was like, wow, it's really quite. Your shoes are wet.
Right.
You can pour water out.
Wow.
I had to go to the toilet and hand dry my stuff and whatever. Yeah, it kind of sucks but it's like package,
Correct. Like what? Something's gotta give lah.
Yeah.
Something's gotta give lah. Yeah. How about you, Amber? What do you think about this raining thing?
Previously, when I was working, I would take a Grab lah because I got some income, so I can still afford a bit of a Grab.
Right.
Yeah, but it's always when I'm there and I end work, then I'll think, do I get back now or do I take MRT?
Oh, right.
And if I take MRT, it's around 2 hours from my house. So nowadays, when I go to school, even if it's raining, I'll die take my bike.
So when you get to school, will you be drenched or you'll be quite okay because you got your raincoat and everything?
I have my raincoat lah. So it's still okay. It's just a bit more troublesome because some car parks don't have shelter. So how are you going to get the raincoat off and be under the rain and run over somewhere?
Right.
Yeah.
I see. So when you get to work, when you get to school, if you're riding, is there like a little bit more cleanup to do? Like you have to kind of like dry yourself off a little bit.
Yeah.
Probably spend a bit more time in the car park.
And for girls, we have longer hair.
Right.
So it gets wet, like fully wet, my ponytail. So you have to find a way to tie up in the helmet.
Right.
It gets very tight. Yeah.
So do you bun up your hair or something when it rains, or it can't because it just cannot?
Yeah, you cannot do that. Yeah, but I found a way. You just tie your hair, put it behind, and then my raincoat has a hoodie. So I just put the hoodie over then the helmet. So my hair will be inside.
Pro tips.
Right, pro tips. Okay. The thing that I'm also very curious to ask, like specifically Amber lah, is that there is somewhat of a stereotype that female drivers tend to not be very good at driving. Like it's like 100%, I think it's a stereotype lah, right? But there is still a stereotype. So I would think that for female riders, like a similar stereotype might be applicable, and it might be even worse also because there might not be a lot of, I don't really know a lot of female riders. So when you got your license and you're riding, even like with getting into an accident, have you ever faced any like discrimination on the road because you are a female rider?
personally for myself, no lah. But I've seen it happen. It's like online, especially not just in Singapore, like other countries. You see like small girls riding big bikes. Then a lot of people will be like, that's so unsafe for other people also, not just for yourself. And I've seen really small, I think maybe in China, small girls riding very big bikes and they cannot touch the floor.
Right.
So I think that's a bit dangerous because if you e-brake, you can't even touch the floor. And then when they stop, they have to put down the side stand.
Right.
So that one is a bit too much for myself lah, personally. But as long as you can control the bike, I think there's no problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So far you haven't really faced any discrimination on the road, like you get horned at, because you're a female rider, because those things do happen, right? Even to like female drivers, because some people can be a little bit not very nice about it lah.
Possibly, but I never really noticed lah.
Right,
Yeah,
you
because I'm just doing
care.
my own thing.
I
yeah.
see. So do you, both of you, like as a rider, do you feel like there are, apart from like the female stereotypes, there are stereotypes or like discrimination that happens on the road towards riders, because there is this so-called unspoken ongoing feud between riders and like drivers all the time, right? The driver will say like, "Aya, this rider anyhow," then the rider will say, "Aya, this driver anyhow." Kind of thing. Do you feel like as a rider you get discriminated a little bit, or you feel like there's no discrimination on the road?
Definitely a bit lah. Sometimes you can see the car when you're lane splitting, then the car will just go to the side and block your way. A bit dangerous. Don't know whether they are doing it on purpose or just like accidentally doing that. Yeah. But nowadays there's a new element like cyclists on the road also. So I think that's making us a bit more united.
Right.
Yeah, as drivers and riders.
Personally, on the way back one day, it's not illegal to lane split, by the way. So I was trying to overtake this guy. It was a wide lane, but it was one lane. So I was trying to overtake him. He sped up and then he started cornering me to the side until I was like, oh, this guy is crazy. So I horned him and then I went back and then I went around and then I was like, hey, what you doing? And so you why not? And then I was just like, hey, no. Not today. And so I just did. That's an example of defensive riding. Yeah, from me lah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because road rage is like a thing lah, right? And when road rage happens, usually the riders are more at risk lah, because like you already know the risks of riding and everything.
Yeah.
And I think some drivers, a lot of drivers experience road rage, and sometimes they can be very unkind lah. I think even like as a driver, I think some other drivers might not be very nice lah, right? We don't talk about the usual stereotypes like what car you drive and whatever, but we all know lah. Yeah. So
actually, because I drive and I ride, so I can kind of see from both sides. When riders are in your blind spot, you can't see them, that kind of thing. But it also helps to be a driver as a rider, because you know that, oh,
where's the blind spot?
Yeah, I'm here now, he can't see me. So I would try to not have myself in that kind of position.
Right. Yeah. So that is, I guess, a part of defensive driving lah. Just don't put yourself in situations that you can control one. I see. Okay, so like overall, I guess for the both of you, you would definitely consider riding, right? Essentially, you consider riding for a long time, because you will keep riding for a long time, because the reasons just justify it for both of you lah, specifically both of you.
I don't think you can ride forever lah, because one day we're gonna be old and we cannot.
It's gonna be a while to get there, but yeah lah.
But long term, yes lah.
Like for your adult working life, basically.
Personally, I think if I can afford a car, I might change to a car just because. I mean, you know lah, because as a freelancer, you run around, you don't want to get wet also.
Yeah.
So having a car, you can put stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, it's just there's more utility in this.
Right. Yeah, especially if like you have equipment and whatever, it's easier to have equipment in a car than in a bike lah.
You can't carry a guitar and like ride around. As in, you can. But it's just not.
Try.
Or like fragile like equipment like guitar or like cameras and stuff like that. It can be quite dangerous lah, because if you get into an accident or like you ski or whatever, it's not just your life at risk? Is your livelihood, your camera, $5,000 camera gone already?
Correct.
Yeah, kind of thing.
I remember there was once we were grocery shopping, then we bought toilet papers and I was pillion. So I had to carry that like bigger than myself on a bike and he was just going zoom zoom. A bit dangerous lah.
Yeah, it is lah. Yeah, okay, so for any, last thing, right? For any people who are considering riding, or like they have just started riding, because like you say lah, like your dad couldn't stop you, so like whoever that is watching this who wants to ride, like they will do it anyway lah, right? So is there any like hot tips or like pro tips that you can give like new riders that would potentially, you know, help them a bit to kind of familiarize themselves with this riding ecosystem environment, and maybe, you know, some tips where it can help them protect themselves a bit more?
I think if you're on the road, if you're unsure whether you should go, like maybe you're at an intersection, if you're not sure, just don't go. It's better to get horned than get hit, you know?
The quote of the day, it's better to get horned than get hit. Okay, good tip.
Yeah. For me, I think just don't clutch in and brake at the same time.
Okay, actually, can you explain that? I don't fully understand.
So when you clutch, so you need to, you know, if you drive a manual car, it's the same. You need to clutch and then you shift your gear. So when you clutch in, the bike is kind of like freewheeling in a sense that this.
Yeah, the gear is disengaged. So when you brake by right, you're supposed to have engine brake.
Right.
So if you clutch in, your gears are not engaged, then you'll be freewheeling. And then at the same time, if you freewheel, it will go a bit faster than your actual speed. Yeah. So ideally, you should not clutch in, then you let the engine brake do its thing. Until you're gonna stop, then you clutch in to prevent stalling.
Yeah. Right. Like pardon my my like very stupid question, but like are our bikes manual?
No.
So then how does this work?
It's like an auto car.
Yeah, it's like an auto car.
Oh, okay.
Most of the auto bikes are scooters.
Right.
You know, your Vespa.
Okay, I understand.
And Max riding. Yeah, so that's why I say they can do it one.
But it's so comfortable. I recently tried my friend's one.
Like a Vespa? Like a scooter?
The X-Max, if I'm not wrong. Very comfortable. Their leg can go down, they can go like that, and then you can just cruise. You only need one hand. And then there's so much space, storage, everything under the seat.
Right.
Store a lot of stuff, yeah.
So would you consider switching to like that kind of thing?
Not really lah. I don't enjoy gear.
Not cool.
Personally, I think Vespa are quite cool.
Right.
So maybe after my phase, because I just passed my class 2 license, so I changed to a class 2 bike. But maybe in the future, if we're old, maybe just a Vespa will do fine.
Right, but for you personally, if you can afford a car, you will still go for a car .
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I mean, these days it's getting harder and harder to afford a car . Like COE is crazy . Yeah, you can buy like a good 15 bikes or 10 bikes or something.
Yeah, bike COE also going up.
Yeah, how much is bike COE now anyway? Do you know?
I think it's about the 10, 5 or 11. I think I just saw one recently, 11. I'm not too sure, but around that range.
Not really keeping up .
Yeah, you don't need to anyway.
Second-hand,
you already got. Yeah. Nice. Okay, thank you for sharing about your riding experience. I think it's quite interesting. I learned quite a few things, which is that riding is actually quite affordable, and like it's really affordable. It's not just quite affordable. It's in fact one of the cheapest mode of transports like here.
Can consider.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you consider the time like waiting, like you know, like if your workplace is very far and like it's sometimes it financially makes sense. Like I'm not saying that it always makes sense to ride. But sometimes financially it does make sense, and a lot of people ride for passion as well, not just a mode of transport. Mode of transport like secondary for some riders, and I guess sometimes the thrill of it and everything like justify like the reason why you do it, even though both of you know that it is not the safest form of transport in anywhere in the world, right?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe you're in Vietnam is different because everybody is a rider.
Yeah, but nowadays anything can kill you
Fair enough. You can walk out and a flower pot hit your head or whatever. Yeah, anything can also like
correct.
Live life while you're living. Not a advertisement for you to write, but if you're gonna write anyway, might as well do it safely, right? And stay safe out there. And if you like if anybody wants to connect with you, right? Like ask you for writing tips or whatever, like where can they find you online?
You can find us on Instagram at Embassy. And
you can just put it on here somewhere, right?
Okay, yeah, I can, yeah. I mean, but you can say like where can you just
you
do
can
a quick
find
one.
me on Instagram at Mark D Jagger.
Mark D Jagger. Okay,
Yes.
I'll get like the proper handles from you later. But thank you for coming in and sharing your writing experience. I hope that your sharing will be quite useful for some people, especially those people who are starting to write. I think it can be quite intimidating, especially if you don't have any friends around you who write or like family not very supportive of it. It can be quite intimidating lah.
Yep.
But people who want to write will write anyway, like you say, right?
You're right.
So thank you for watching the One Day at a Time podcast. Stay safe out there if you're a writer, and we'll see you next time. Peace.